In the quiet corners of Atlanta, Georgia, tucked between aging apartment buildings and corner stores with flickering signs, lived Malik Turner, a 27-year-old dreamer with more ambition than money. Every morning, before the sun had fully kissed the sky, Malik would lace up his scuffed sneakers and head out to catch the early bus to the downtown diner where he worked as a dishwasher. His world was simple and consistent, a rhythm of repetition that offered little in the way of excitement, but enough to keep his head above water. Malik didn't complain much. Not out loud, anyway. He was the kind of man who kept his thoughts close, speaking more through his work ethic than his words. People often said he had potential, a word that felt more like a consolation than a compliment when you were scrubbing grease off plates for minimum wage. Still, Malik carried himself with quiet dignity. He had a kind smile, deep eyes that held stories he hadn't told, and a notebook he never let out of his sight. That notebook was Malik's real life. Filled with sketches, blueprints, and scribbled notes, it contained the foundation for a tech startup he'd been building in his mind for years. Every free moment he got on the bus, during breaks, late at night, under the single bulb in his small bedroom, he'd write in that notebook. Algorithms, business models, UI designs. He saw patterns in the chaos. He believed in his idea. But believing doesn't pay the bills. Malik's mom had passed when he was 17, and his father had left long before that. He grew up bouncing between foster homes, aging out of the system with no real family to turn to. The few friends he had were more like friendly strangers, polite hellos and the occasional text, but no one truly close. Except for Brianna, a bright, polished corporate consultant who lived a world away from Malik's reality. They'd met years ago in a community mentorship program, she the volunteer, he the curious teen. Their connection was undeniable, but it never moved beyond occasional coffee meetups and check-ins. Malik had feelings for her, maybe more than he ever admitted, but he knew her world wasn't built for someone like him. One Friday afternoon, Malik decided to take a risk. He'd managed to code a working prototype of his app, an AI-powered budgeting and savings tool designed for low-income families. It was sleek, intuitive, and based on the financial struggles he knew too well. With trembling fingers, he submitted his pitch to Tech Dreams, a startup accelerator known for launching the careers of Silicon Valley's best and brightest. When he told his coworkers at the diner, most of whom barely remembered his name, they chuckled. "Man, they're not going to look at no dishwashers app," one of the line cooks snorted. Even Rodney, the manager, patted Malik on the shoulder with a smirk. "Don't set yourself up for disappointment, kid." But Malik wasn't looking for approval. He wanted change. A week passed. Then two. Malik continued washing dishes, kept his head down, and tried not to let hope eat him alive. Then one day, everything shifted, though he didn't know it yet. While walking home, Malik noticed a luxury car double-parked outside his apartment building. It was sleek, silver, and glaringly out of place on his run-down block. A woman stepped out, tall, graceful, in a navy blue suit. It was Brianna. "Malik?" she said, eyes lighting up as she recognized him.
Wow.
"I didn't expect to see you here." He blinked. "Brianna? What are you doing on this side of town?" "I was consulting with a nonprofit nearby," she explained, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "But I actually just came from a Tech Dreams event. You ever heard of them?" His heart skipped. "Yeah, I submitted something to them. An app." Her eyebrows lifted. "Really? That's incredible." She hesitated. I think I saw your name on one of the shortlists they were discussing." Turner, right?" He froze. "Seriously? I mean, I don't know for sure. But if it is you, Malik, that's huge." That night, Malik barely slept. His heart was thundering. Could it be? Could someone finally be recognizing his work not as a fantasy, but as a real, viable innovation? The next morning brought no calls, no emails. Just the usual routine: dish soap, steam, and the clang of plates. The buzz faded. Reality had returned. Until a letter arrived. A formal envelope with the Tech Dreams logo, addressed to Malik Turner. He stared at it for hours before opening it. And when he did, his hands trembled. "Dear Mr. Turner, We are pleased to inform you that your proposal for Pennywise AI has been accepted into the Tech Dreams Incubator program. Malik sat down on the edge of his bed, too stunned to move. He'd made it. But he didn't realize that the world he was about to walk into, the one that had once rejected him for being just a dishwasher, would soon try to erase him again. Only this time, he wasn't going down without a fight. Because Malik Turner was coming back. And he wasn't coming back empty-handed. Malik stood in front of the tall glass doors of the Tech Dreams Innovation Hub, clutching his messenger bag like it was armor. The building looked like something out of a futuristic movie, sleek, modern, humming with energy. He took a deep breath, exhaled slowly, and walked inside. From the moment he stepped into the accelerator program, Malik felt like an outsider. The receptionists wore tailored blazers and fake smiles. The other startup founders sipped designer coffees and exchanged stories about their Ivy League degrees. Malik, in his second-hand button-up and Walmart shoes, didn't fit the mold. "Hey, who invited the janitor?" someone whispered on his first day. Malik pretended not to hear. He was used to being underestimated. Still, the work spoke louder than the whispers. Within a week, his prototype of Pennywise AI was outperforming 3 other projects in early testing rounds. His app was clean, intuitive, and catered to a demographic most of these tech bros had never even considered, the working class. But success, it seemed, painted a target on his back. There was Austin Keller, a venture-backed hotshot with a sleek haircut and a startup called Finlux, promising AI financial tools for the elite. From day one, Austin made it clear he didn't see Malik as competition. "I don't get it," Austin told him during a networking event. "Why make tools for broke people? They don't have money to manage." Malik clenched his jaw, forcing a calm smile. "Maybe if they had better tools, they wouldn't stay broke." Austin snickered. "Sure, man. Good luck with that." Then there was Kristen Delaney, one of the program directors. On paper, she was there to mentor and support the founders. In reality, she barely looked Malik in the eye during review sessions. When Malik scored the highest usability test of the week, Kristen attributed it to beginner's luck. When he delivered a sharp pitch presentation, she said, "You speak well for someone with your background." The condescension was constant. But it wasn't just about attitude. Things started happening. Files Malik uploaded to the shared network would go missing or come back corrupted. His presentation materials were mysteriously deleted the morning of a panel review. The final straw came during week 5 of the program, when Malik logged onto the incubator platform to find his app's UI mockups posted under another founder's project. It was Austin. Pennywise's design, Malik's code, layout, flow, had been rebranded and uploaded to Finlux. Malik confronted him. "You stole my work." Austin scoffed. "I improved on a similar idea. It's not theft, it's iteration." Malik was furious, but he wasn't stupid. He documented everything: screenshots, code, history, timestamps. He contacted the incubator's grievance committee and submitted a formal complaint. Kristen reviewed the claim. Her verdict: "There's not enough evidence to determine intent. Let's move forward collaboratively." Collaboratively? They wanted him to share development credit. Malik realized the truth. This world hadn't changed. He might have entered the building, but he hadn't been invited through the front door. That night, he called Brianna. "They're trying to erase me," he said, his voice tight with frustration. "They're smiling in my face while stealing my work. And the people in charge, either they don't care, or they're part of it." Brianna was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "So, what are you going to do?" "I'm gonna fight." She exhaled. "Then don't let them see you break. Document everything. Build your own proof. And Malik, don't quit. That's what they want." So Malik doubled down. He worked late into the night, refining Pennywise, encrypting his data, backing up his systems, and recording every interaction. He reached out to legal aid clinics and found a pro bono tech lawyer named Jesse Nolan, who specialized in intellectual property disputes. Jesse took one look at Malik's files and said, "You've got a real case here. If they try to take this public, we bury them." Meanwhile, Malik's app began gaining attention outside of the incubator. A TikTok video he'd posted explaining Pennywise went viral, racking up over 500K views. The comments were flooded with messages. Finally, a budgeting app for us. Where can I download this? I'm a single mom. This would change my life. Even Brianna shared it on her LinkedIn, writing, "Proud to know the mind behind this. Big things coming." Malik felt the tide shifting, but the pressure also grew. Tech Dreams announced a demo day, an investor showcase, where each founder would pitch their startup in front of hundreds of venture capitalists. Kristen told Malik he would not be presenting. "Your platform still has unresolved IP concerns," she said coolly. "We can't risk investors seeing that." Austin, meanwhile, was announced as a keynote presenter. Malik sat in that meeting room, fists clenched beneath the table, his stomach twisting. But he didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply nodded and left the room. Outside, he texted Jesse. "They shut me out of demo day." Jesse replied, "Then we crash it." That night, Malik wrote a letter. A public one. He titled it, "How They Tried to Erase My Startup Because I Wasn't Rich Enough." In the letter, he detailed everything from the stolen designs to the internal biases, attaching screenshots, timestamps, and source files. He told the truth, raw and unapologetic. Then he posted it on Medium, shared it to Reddit, to X, formerly Twitter, to TikTok. By morning, it had gone viral. Hashtag Justice for Pennywise was trending. Investors began to pull out of Finlux. Journalists started calling. Tech Dreams issued a vague statement. But the damage was done. Malik had gone from invisible to undeniable. And the war was just beginning. Malik watched his phone light up like a Christmas tree. Emails, mentions, requests for interviews. The Medium article had struck a nerve. By noon, over 200,000 people had read his post. By evening, TechCrunch, The Verge, and Forbes were all reaching out for statements. And Malik? He was still in his tiny apartment, sipping instant coffee and pacing the floor. Brianna sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone. "You're everywhere," she said. "This is bigger than just the incubator now." He nodded slowly, mind racing. "They tried to silence me. Now the world's listening." Jesse, his lawyer, called just as the sun was going down. "Malik," Jesse said with a controlled excitement. "The buzz is turning into leverage. We've got 3 VC firms requesting meetings. Your app is getting attention. Not Finlux. And not Tech Dreams." "Are we talking lawsuits?" Malik asked. "We're talking options," Jesse replied. "You could sue, sure. But right now, you've got a window to launch independent. Capital is looking for you now. We play it smart and you build this thing outside their system. No gatekeepers." Malik hung up and turned to Brianna. "Can you help me schedule investor calls?" She raised an eyebrow. "You sure about this? It's going to get messy." He nodded. "I was built for messy." Over the next few days, Malik became a lightning rod. In tech circles, debates exploded online. Some hailed him as a hero disrupting the elite echo chamber. Others tried to dismiss him as a race card puller or angry amateur. Malik ignored the noise. Instead, he focused on refining Pennywise AI for launch. He recruited 2 of his old college friends, Deshaun Rivera, a brilliant backend developer, and Sophie Lin, a UX designer with a clean aesthetic and sharp instincts. Together, they worked from Malik's cramped living room, fueled by cheap coffee and microwaved burritos. It felt raw, real, like something was being born. In just under 2 weeks, they rebuilt the app from scratch, cleaner code, sleeker UI, ironclad security. This time, they launched it on their terms. No incubator, no middlemen, just the product and the people. They dropped the app with one tweet. "Budgeting shouldn't be a luxury. Pennywise AI is live." Within hours, downloads surged. 5,000 installs. Then 10,000. Then 50,000 by the weekend. Users loved it. The reviews said it all. White medium star, white medium star, white medium star, white medium star, white medium star. This app literally saved me from overdraft fees this month. White medium star, white medium star, white medium star, white medium star, white medium star. I'm a single dad, and I've never felt in control of my money until now. White medium star, white medium star, white medium star, white medium star, white medium star. Finally, something made for people like me. But with success came pushback. Tech Dreams sent Malik a cease and desist, claiming his app violated their intellectual property rights due to his participation in their program. Austin went on a podcast and claimed Malik had been overly sensitive and misinterpreted mentorship as sabotage. Malik didn't flinch. He went live on Instagram with Jesse beside him. "This isn't just about me," Malik said to over 200,000 viewers. "It's about a system that only rewards you when you look the part, act the part, and have the right connections. I'm not sorry I didn't come from privilege. I'm proud of it." The comments exploded. Hashtag Pennywise Power trended worldwide. That night, a surprise came in the form of an email from a major venture fund, Emerge Equity. Their managing partner, Olivia Brooks, had read Malik's story and wanted to meet. When they connected over Zoom, Olivia didn't waste time. "Malik," she said, "I grew up in Detroit. Single mom. I know what it's like to be ignored in rooms full of polished sharks. What you've built, it's revolutionary. We want in." Malik leaned forward. "What's the catch?" Olivia smiled. "No catch. You set the terms. We invest. You run the company. No handcuffs." He paused, heart pounding. "How much are we talking?" $5 million for 20% and a board seat, but only advisory. You're the CEO. Brianna, sitting beside him off camera, squeezed his hand. Malik said, "Let's build." The next 72 hours were a blur. Articles proclaimed Malik as the new face of inclusive fintech. He landed on the cover of Incorporated magazine. CNBC called him the disruptor the tech world didn't see coming. But perhaps most satisfying was the news that came a week later. Tech Dreams' demo day was a flop. Austin's app had been pulled. 2 investors filed claims alleging fraudulent presentation of IP. Kristen Delaney quietly resigned. And Malik? He was too busy onboarding 200,000 new users. Still, it wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about responsibility. He looked out his window late one night and whispered to himself, "They tried to shut the door on me. Now I'm building one that stays open for everyone." And he meant it. It was a crisp October morning in downtown San Francisco when Malik received an unexpected email with the subject line, Confidential request, internal Tech Dreams matter. He hesitated, then clicked. It was from a whistleblower, Natalie Mendez, a former junior developer at Tech Dreams. She wrote, "I read your story. I couldn't stay silent anymore. There's something you need to see. They didn't just reject your app. They cloned parts of it, tried to rush launch under a shell name called SmartSense. I worked on the back end. The architecture matches your early code almost exactly. I'm attaching the repo logs and screenshots. I hope this helps you." Malik stared at the files, his stomach flipping. This was the twist he didn't see coming. This wasn't just erasure. This was theft. He forwarded the email to Jesse. An hour later, Jesse called him back, voice tense. "It's real. The timestamps, the server logs, they used your old codebase. Probably from the shared incubator server you were forced to upload to during orientation." Malik felt the room tilt. "They said I didn't belong," he muttered. "But they had no problem stealing from me." Jesse's voice was calm but burning. "It's time to go public with proof." Malik knew the stakes. A lawsuit would draw scrutiny. Attention. He would be going up against a billion-dollar incubator backed by some of the most powerful names in tech. He could lose everything. But silence would be worse. He took a breath and called Brianna. "I need you," he said. "This is war." That evening, Malik released a statement across all platforms. With Jesse's help, he included a detailed timeline, side-by-side code comparisons, and Natalie's testimony, anonymously redacted. He didn't rant. He didn't scream. He just told the truth and backed it up. The world responded. Tech Twitter exploded. Hashtags like #TechTheft and #CodeBlackout flooded the feed. Influential voices spoke out. Engineers, founders, ethicists, even a few VC allies. The headlines changed. From rejection to robbery, the shocking truth behind Pennywise and Tech Dreams. Startup star Malik Johnson alleges code theft by incubator giant, who really built SmartSense. Whistleblower claims it wasn't Tech Dreams. The pressure was immediate. Tech Dreams investors demanded an emergency board meeting. Their CEO, Kristen Delaney, now silent, was subpoenaed for internal communications. Austin tried to go live on LinkedIn to clear the air, but comments buried him in real-time fact checks and links to the repo logs. He signed off in under 3 minutes. Malik had stirred a movement. But the hardest moment came 3 days later when he was invited to speak at a tech equity forum, an event usually reserved for established leaders. Brianna walked with him backstage. "You nervous?" she asked. He shook his head. "No. I've already lived the hardest parts of this. Speaking up is the easy part now." When he took the stage, the room of 2,000 tech professionals fell silent. The spotlight hit his face. He began. "When I walked into Tech Dreams, I was the only person in the room wearing shoes from Goodwill. I was the only one who didn't attend Stanford or Harvard. I didn't speak their language. I didn't know their rules. But I knew how to build." He paused, scanning the crowd. "And for that, they smiled to my face and gutted my work behind it. Not because it wasn't good, but because they never thought I'd fight back." A soft murmur ran through the audience. "But I'm not here just to talk about what they did. I'm here to talk about what we're building next. A new ecosystem. A new standard. One where gatekeepers aren't gods." He leaned into the mic. "Pennywise isn't just an app. It's a signal that no matter where you come from, if you've got value, you deserve a seat. And when they won't give you one, you bring your own damn chair." Thunderous applause erupted. Some rose to their feet. Others wiped away quiet tears. Backstage, Jesse met him with a court order in hand. Kristen has been removed as CEO. The board froze development on SmartSense. "We're filing for a settlement, but given the evidence, they're already offering to settle out of court. 7 figures." Malik blinked. 7? Jesse nodded. "One-time payout. No NDA. They just want the headlines to go away." Malik's jaw tightened. "No NDA?" "No NDA." Malik signed it the next morning. He gave half of the settlement away to fund scholarships for underrepresented coders and to create a boot camp for Black and brown developers launching their own startups. The other half, he reinvested straight into Pennywise AI. With Brianna by his side as Chief Operating Officer, Sophie as Head of Design, and Deshawn leading development, the company opened its first office downtown. A clean glass building with the words etched in gold by the front door. "No one gets left out." 6 months later, the Pennywise AI office buzzed with quiet focus. Keyboards clicked, whiteboards were covered in equations and user flows, and a soft playlist filled the background with lo-fi beats. Malik sat at his corner desk, sunlight pouring through the floor-to-ceiling windows. His posture was relaxed, but his eyes, those same eyes that once stared at eviction notices, were sharp, alert, watching his dream come to life. On the wall beside him hung a framed photograph. Malik and Brianna standing on the balcony of their first office, arms raised in triumph, the Pennywise logo gleaming behind them. Underneath it, a quote in silver script. "They told me I didn't belong, so I built where I did." That morning, TechCrunch released an article titled, "From Underdog to Industry Disruptor. Malik Johnson's Pennywise AI is Reshaping FinTech." Pennywise had just passed 1 million active users. It was being hailed as the most intuitive financial planning tool for underserved communities, offering AI-driven money management, credit education, and real-time budgeting support. But for Malik, the real win wasn't just user stats. It was the emails. Every day, dozens of them arrived. "I paid off $2,000 in debt thanks to your app. I finally understand how my credit score works. You made me believe I could build again. Thank you." Malik had spent years being rejected, overlooked, and ridiculed. Now, he had become a lighthouse for those sailing through storms just like he once had. Jesse walked in, grinning. "Investor from Impact Collective just confirmed. Series of funding approved." They're in for $5 million. Malik let out a low whistle. We're officially real, huh? You've been real, Jesse replied. Now they finally caught up. As Jesse stepped out to make a few calls, Malik's eyes drifted toward the window. San Francisco looked different now. Less like a fortress, more like an open map. He thought back to his early days, sleeping in his car, washing up at gas stations, coding in free libraries with trembling hands. They had mocked his poverty, dismissed him as unpolished, and written him off as a misfit. But Malik had never needed polish. He needed a chance. And when no one gave it, he made his own. A gentle knock pulled him from his thoughts. Brianna stood there, holding a letter. No return address, she said, handing it over. Malik opened it. Inside was a short, handwritten note. I was wrong about you. About everything. Your success is well earned. Austin. No apology. No excuses. Just that. He stared at the note for a moment, then folded it neatly and dropped it into the shredder. Let the past be past, he said softly. Later that week, Pennywise held a community launch event in Oakland, the city where it all began. Malik took the stage with Brianna, Sophie, and Deshawn beside him. Families filled the auditorium. High school coders wore badges. Aspiring entrepreneurs clutched notepads. And sitting in the front row was Malik's mother, eyes filled with tears, heart full of pride. My son, she whispered. My miracle. Malik began. When I first wrote code, it was just me and a secondhand laptop. No roadmap. No mentors. No safety net. Just a dream and desperation. He looked out across the crowd. But I made a promise to myself, if I ever made it out, I'd build something that brought others with me. Pennywise is that promise, kept. Thunderous applause. Tears streamed down cheeks. The energy in the room pulsed with hope. The event ended with the unveiling of the Pennywise Fellowship, a fully funded mentorship and seed grant program for minority founders from low-income backgrounds. Applications opened the next day. Over 2,000 poured in within the first week. That night, Malik and Brianna stood on the roof of the office, sipping tea, watching the city lights flicker like stars. You really did it, she whispered. No, Malik said. We did it. They fell into a peaceful silence. Below them, the world kept spinning. Deals closed, meetings scheduled, challenges awaited. But for a moment, time slowed, and Malik allowed himself to breathe it all in. The pain, the hustle, the betrayal, the comeback. It had all led here. He thought about the kid inside him, the one who had walked into Tech Dreams with a prototype and a hopeful heart, and he smiled. That kid wasn't gone. He had just grown wings.